G'day. Over time, viruses were usually a fairly predominant thing on PCs. Now it's slowly evolved to being people. Now, to elaborate on that, going back 10, 15 years ago, you'd pretty much required to have an antivirus on your computer, as you would be getting random pop-ups, random apps getting installed, or more so in the background, infecting computers, while just doing general web browsing. The need of an antivirus nowadays has definitely gone down. I don't see that really being vital. Windows Defender usually does a perfectly fine job of analysing any executables that are running, and typically browsing habits, good browsing habits, keeps your computer clean. Nowadays it's slowly evolved down from being antiviruses to the end user, the actual person using the devices, that is the best form of antivirus. And nowadays it's definitely evolved into fake scam phone calls, fake text messages, with links to dodgy apps, where it comes down to the individual to be able to go, okay, this doesn't seem right. I'm not going to listen to what the person's saying at the end of the phone. And the thing that I find real crap about all this is it's gone from one individual sitting in a dark room, brightly lit room, wherever they are, and they decided, okay, I'm going to make this replicating worm and it's going to delete all .doc files and then it's just going to replicate across the internet. That's one person being shitty, making one bad choice. Now there's call centers filled with people that have no idea about computers or technology. All they know is how to follow a script and then press connect call to manager. And that is definitely a sad state for humanity. I've noticed in the past where usually I'd be running Malwarebytes anti-malware, another program called JRT, Junk Removal Tool, which will remove a whole bunch of crap off a computer. Nowadays that's almost not necessary. And the biggest thing I find nowadays is it's either scam calls, scam text messages, or another one that's slowly becoming more common is calendar links, or essentially filling out a calendar with just pop-up ads or links to ads, so you get a reminder every hour, every day about going to a certain ad. Another thing that I do see as well is notifications on Google Chrome or Windows notifications, popping up ads down the bottom right hand corner that are usually leading off to scammy kind of things. But I found that in the other one that was in between all that, from going destructive antiviruses to destructive people, was in the past there was CryptoLocker, which nowadays is mostly unheard of. It's pretty rare for someone to actually hear of a person getting their business or their personal computers encrypted with CryptoLocker, which goes through and encrypts a whole hard drive and then demands a ransom, also known as ransomware. That was a small segment of antivirus history, which I believe is mostly past at this point in time, where now it's just turning to individuals doing it, which I find is the worst thing of all. You've got a person on the other side of the world calling up, granted, people like ourselves normally are too switched on to not actually really bother with them. We'll just tell them to piss off. Or what I usually do is lead them on with a fake phone call and record the whole thing. But the biggest thing I find is it's the older people that have no idea about this, no idea on technology, and they're blindly following these people. They might be a grandma, they might be a mum, they might be a dad, they might be a sibling, but people are getting conned by these people, which I find absolutely crazy just because it's someone else conning people out of money. It's bullshit. They should not be doing this. I don't know why. The simple fact is you cannot block a phone number from international being received on your phone. But I do find there is usually good programs to combat that. For example, Google Dialer and the Google Messages app, where typically they would automatically analyze the phone number and go, that's a known scan number, and delete it. And there were other programs in the past. I believe one was essentially a phone system called Lenny, and it was essentially an old guy that would just string people on, who would ask them to repeat themselves. It's a bit hard of hearing Lenny, so he was usually good for a few jokes, but it's all coming down to, like, for example, personally on my computer I could probably turn off Windows Defender, browse the internet perfectly fine, do everything I need to do with no care in the world that I'll be infected, except I know I would get a phone call from a scammer. And it's such a weird way to think about it. It's not automatic stuff bouncing out there on the internet. It's someone directly, or not indirectly, but directly at the same time, talking to you, communicating to you. They mightn't have dialed the number, but they are the ones talking at the other end of that phone, telling you to buy some iTunes gift cards, or Google Play or whatever the hell they're telling you to buy nowadays. And you hear the people that make videos on this on YouTube, and they're essentially masquerading as an old lady. And they're like, oh yeah, go down to the local shop and buy that. Oh, it's 5 k's away and I don't have a car. Okay, call your grandson. It's like, these people, I don't see them as having a good moral compass at all, or anywhere near a moral compass. There has to be more legitimate ways for them to generate an income apart from phone scamming people. Anyway, that's my thoughts on phone scams, viruses, a bit of history of the viruses and where they're going, but I'm definitely not a fan of where it's going now, where it's no longer the individual that's made something dodgy. It's now a large collection of people interacting one-on-one, conning people out of money.